Hi, I'm Paula Marie of Paula Marie Speaks, and I wanted to jump on just to talk about the month of March as it closes and what a monumental month that is for the Payday Foundation. For those of you who don't know, the Payday Foundation is an organization I created as a way to inspire and uplift in honor of my oldest son, Paler James Daniels. As we close out the month of March, I thought it would be really great to discuss some ways that we can empower our children a little bit more during this time. As we're spending more time with our children, schools are closed, um, playgrounds are closed, parks are closed, and we're really having to be in front of our children up front and personal. This is the time where we can instill some really great lessons and start to initiate a shift or a pivot within them because our teenagers are facing so many struggles that we are not even aware of. So it's extremely important for us to be able to connect with them and talk with them and understand them and validate their feelings, their thoughts, and the decisions that they may have made, and to work with them in a way of love and compassion and support so that we can start to grow them into being better, stronger after we get through this crisis. So, the number one thing that you can really do is to really spend time, like quality time, like get in their face. I'll tell you that's hard because these teenagers don't want to be bothered and they are so in tune and connected to their electronics and their friends because it's the only way they can stay connected. But find quality moments where you really have some downtime with them, even if you're making dinner, even if you're outside cleaning the yard, whatever it is that you're doing, even if you're just watching a TV show together, find those moments where you can connect and really start to build your relationships. And I'm not saying that even if you have the best relationship that this doesn't work for you. What I'm saying is even if you do think you have the best relationship, you can build upon it because your children have to start to connect with you again, to trust you again, to lean on you and depend on you as they start to work through their own self-independence. And that's the number one thing that we have at this moment as a world, as we are self-quarantining ourselves, is to just be present in our children's lives. That needs to carry over after this. But plant those seeds while we have it, because that's one of the blessings of being with your kids, is being able to build or rebuild or reinvigorate those relationships. The number two lesson that we can give our kids is to be able to teach them how we're pushing through this challenging time. Don't try to shift those things from them. Don't try to let them not see that there's a struggle with your money or that your 401k is dropping or that your job is downsizing. Don't let them see that. They need to learn those lessons because once they see you do it and get through it, they'll be able to get through it because trust and believe they will go through their own recession, which is what we are embarking upon. They need to be able to see how you push through and they need to be able to learn those lessons so that they can do it for themselves and for their own families. I'll never forget when I was a little girl during the Reagan era when my mom and dad lost their job and they were both working in the mill and the mill closed because everything was being outsourced overseas, right? As a young girl, my whole world changed. There was no more going out on the weekends. There was no more movies every other weekend. There was no more of what I knew. What I knew as my new normal was my family was in the struggle the best way they knew how, and I saw them push through to the other side. I saw my dad take jobs to fill in the gaps. I saw my mom decide to go back to school. I saw my parents make decisions that would make sure that our family was good in the immediate space, but I also saw my parents make moves that would make us good after. And your kids need to see that as well. Kids need to see how you survive in the time of struggle, because that's where they build their strength from, is through seeing you. You are the teacher, literally. You are your child's first teacher. So if your 401k is going down, have those conversations. Look it up with your child. This is the moment to start teaching them about money, and not the loss of money and the fear of losing it, but the strength of how to grow from it, how to build it back up, or the lesson of how when things cycle down, they always cycle back up, and how they cycle back up, and how to prepare themselves for the interim. You are the teacher. So show them those lessons. Let them understand what the plan is. If there is a way to call your creditors and ask for a grace period, ask for them not to take that payment, put it on the back end. Have those lessons. Maybe this is the time to build stock. Even if you've got $25, maybe tell your child, here's $25. Let's look at some stock, because stocks are dropping, but let's look at it now, because when they start to grow, that's when we need to jump on it. We need to jump on the ones that are moving, and we need to be strategic about it. Take this time to build those life lessons that your children need in order to be able to bounce back during their own crisis, because this is my third. My first was as a little girl watching my parents. My second was in '08 when I decided to open up a whole Pilates studio, honey, out of nothing. And that journey created my upswing to be able to grow and build myself into a real professional in the industry. So crisis doesn't always have to mean that you hunker down. Crisis can also mean that you spring out, that you grow, that you find your wings, that you figure it out, that you figure out what the need is, you figure out how you can fulfill the need, and then you figure out how to get that answer, that solution to the people that really want it. Show your kids those lessons, right? And then number 3, let's sit down and put a plan together, because spring breaks are gone, right? And maybe graduations are non-existent. Proms are dead in the water. So what can we do after this is over to celebrate and still live our lives and still be vibrant? Sit down with your kids, sit down with your family, put that plan together, write it out. Does it look like July? Does it look like September? Does it look like next Christmas? We're going to do something different. Because I know I've got like 2 trips internationally that were shut all the way down. And I don't know what I'm going to do, but I do know I'm doing something. And I do know that my plans with my son's spring break are dead. But I do know we're doing something. So create that excitement and show your kids how to plan for their future. Not just on the financial end with lesson number 2, but also how to plan their fun, how to be responsible. What does it take? Maybe because you're working from home, you're saving up these sick days and these annual leave days. So now you've got more leave to do something at the end of the summer, the beginning of the fall. Talk to them. What do they want to do? What would be great? Figure it out. I just wanted to jump on really quickly because I feel like this is a time of rebirth. I've always felt that way since the beginning of this season. And I wanted to share a couple of things that we can do with our kids, because that's what the Payday Foundation is about. It's about building and growing families and uplifting our existing boys so that we can grow them to be independent and strong and fearless, right? So let me recap. The number one thing I need you to do is to spend some quality time And it doesn't have to be whole day. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be something small, but have some real conversations with your kids. Start to learn who they're growing into and becoming as individuals, because I tell you, my son at 10 is nowhere near what he's like at 15. Number two, teach your kids those lifelong lessons. Teach them what your struggle looks like right now and how you're going to pivot and bounce back. Give them the lessons. Instill some real structure for them so that when they go through their own recession, when they go through their own struggle, when they go through their own valleys, they'll know how to bounce back because you showed them the way and they saw how you bounce back. They didn't just see that you did bounce back, but they know exactly what you did to bounce back, because it's going to take a whole family, a whole village to help each other through it. So make them part of that, right? And then number three, create a plan for after this, because there's always an after, honey. Like, there's always an after. So create the plan. Make them part of the plan. There's got to be a rainbow at the end. And you're the architect. You're the painter. You're the drawer. Create your own rainbow with your own kids. Okay? I'm Paula Marie of Paula Marie Speaks. And this is coming to you via the Payday Foundation. If you want to know more about the Payday Foundation, go to www.paydayfoundation.org. Alrighty.